subscribe and click the bell icon to turn on notifications.
Hello and welcome to this Pipedrive tutorial. My name is Rob Armbruster. I'll be teaching you 3 different topics in Pipedrive through this tutorial. 1, how to get set up. 2, everyday use. 3, automation, estimation, and tracking in Pipedrive. Here we are inside Pipedrive, and you can see it's a very good looking, visually based CRM. The beautiful thing about Pipedrive is that it takes these individual deals and breaks the sales process down into steps for you to advance the deals through. Within each deal is a repository of information, including the organizations associated with the deal, the people associated with the deal, and any notes or information that you would want for closing that said deal. Pipedrive has everything that you would expect from a CRM and is an incredible tool for helping your sales team get a visual of the deals that they're working with. Now, the first thing I want to show you is how to add a deal manually. Now, up here in the upper left-hand corner, here's the Add Deal button. And what you do is you click it, and then you add a contact person that you want to be the person that you contact with the deal. And then you add the organization that that person is working for. So say I wanted to contact Rob Armbruster at Home Depot. I can do that. And then this is the value of the deal. So this is how much it's worth if it were to be closed. And so let's say $4,000. And then I can designate which pipeline I would like the deal to be a part of, and then which stage of the pipeline where I would like it to start out in. And most of the deals that I add start out in the first pipeline stage. Now, this probability actually is what percent do I think that this deal is going to close. For that, I'll just leave that blank, and then I can add in an expected closure date right here. And then the owner of the deal is the one who is in charge of it. And then these are custom fields that I've created for my company. So it won't necessarily be applying to what you would be doing, but you can create your own custom fields for your deals. As you can see, when I selected this contact person, I have their information right over here that automatically fills into the deal. So now I'm ready to save this deal, and it will pop up right here in my pipeline, right in the first section that I wanted it to. So say I'm in a situation where I would like to add 2 contacts to one deal. I can go down here and click on participants. I'll type the name of the person. Say I want to add Jerry Lewis to this deal. Jerry Lewis isn't in my system. So adding this person adds both a new person to the system, but will also add Jerry Lewis to this deal. Right here, I can fill out his email, phone number, and all the necessary information that I need for Jerry. And when I close this, then I have access to all the different participants in this deal, which then I can use to reference and contact these people right here. All right, so now I'm going to show you how to sync your email with Pipedrive. So I'll go and I'll click in the upper right hand corner on my picture, and I'm going to go to Company Settings. And in this place, I can find a variety of different settings that I can do for my company. And I want to click on Email Sync. And the beautiful thing about syncing your email is all your interactions with your customers can automatically be saved in Pipedrive and seen in your deals. And so that's the big advantage. You can choose whether or not you want to sync your email with Pipedrive, but I found it so amazing to be able to have that when I'm working with different deals. So here are the labels, and under the labels it says all emails will be synced with Pipedrive. And so you can either designate, hey, I only want certain labeled emails to be synced, or I can say all emails will be synced in Pipedrive. And then archive, you can either choose to archive or delete emails that have been archived or deleted within Pipedrive, and you can set that to be yes or no. And then there's also email tracking. So you can track when somebody's opened up an email. You can see what links they've clicked on within that email, which is really useful for marketing purposes. And then notifications of tracking activities. I choose to have this off. I don't want to get notified, but if you're really inspired by people clicking on your links, then you can be notified by them. Here's another great tool within emails. It's called Smart BCC address. And what this does is you can keep track of any type of interaction with the customer, even if somebody else from a different email address is interacting within a deal. Just tell them to BCC this email address right here, and it will get entered into the deal, into the system. And you can also add an alternative BCC email in here if you would like. And then keep all email conversations private. That means that the email conversations will still be linked, but they'll only be visible to the person the deal is assigned. So I marked to have that down for my emails. And just to show you so say I go to the Monsters Inc. deal. When I have my emails synced, I'll have it pop up in this interaction section of the deal that I have sent the email. It'll have who I sent it to and the whole contents of the email for me to review as I'm looking at different customers. And the next thing let's look at is how to sync your contacts with Pipedrive. And so I have chosen to sync Pipedrive with my Gmail contacts. But you, no matter what email system that you have, you can choose to sync your contacts, or you can choose to sync a singular folder of your contacts within Pipedrive. And then it also has a sync direction that you can look at. And this says, when I have it on one way, it says all the contacts that I add within my synced Google contacts will be automatically added into Pipedrive. However, I can also mark it two-way. So that means all the same thing, all the contacts from Google will be added to Pipedrive, but then also two-way would mean all contacts added into Pipedrive would be added into my Google. I don't necessarily need that or want that, so I put one way here. And then visibility, I can either have my visibility of contacts be to the entire company or to just the owner of who created those contacts. And for me, I made it available to the entire company just because of the nature of the deals that we're working with. I want everybody to see everything. So that's how you set up your contact email and contact sync within Pipedrive. All right, let's talk about importing new leads into your pipeline. So if you look at this window right here, I have my pipeline and I have my current deals in these different stages. But say my boss sends me an email with a spreadsheet of new leads to add into my pipeline, which happens a lot, actually. How do I get that to match up in the system and add them into Pipedrive? There's two different ways. So the first way, you can press this deal button here and you can manually enter all the information right here. And this is great if you just have one deal to add. But what if you have 100 deals to add into your pipeline? This is where the ease of importing from a spreadsheet really comes in handy. So if you look at the first column of this Pipedrive import spreadsheet that I've created for you, you can see that I've put a mapping of all the different colors and what they mean. So this shows you the mandatory fields for creating people, organizations, and deals, which are the three most important aspects of what we'll be uploading into Pipedrive. So every one of your new deals that you put in your pipeline needs to have an organization and a person attached to it in order to be a deal. Just like every phone call you make has to have somebody on the other end to be able to receive the phone call. And then I also want to draw your attention to this description row up here on the top. This is a tool for you to be able to use as you're creating your Pipedrive sheet. Now, in each little section here of this row, you have a description of what those fields contain. And so this says mandatory for people unless using full name. And that's just one example. And that's basically just saying these three fields are mandatory for creating the people that you're looking to reach in your pipeline. And just for an example here, I've put some famous people and I have their first names and last names, and then I have their full names also. And I want each one of these fields so that I can address them by their first name in future emails or interactions with them. So the next field to look at is the organization name. So this field is mandatory for creating an organization within your new deal. So an example of this would be Stark Industries for Tony Stark. That would be his organization. And then if we look at the next field, it's called the address field. And we want to put the full address of where their company is located right here. And when you do that, when you upload this into Pipedrive, it has this nice feature where it geocodes with Google. And so if you want to see the exact location of where you're calling, you can click on that geocode and it'll automatically pull up the Google site to show you that location. And there's been times in the past where I've been given a lead and the phone number doesn't work, and so it's really helpful to look up their location on Google, and then I'll see, oh man, this location looks pretty close, so okay, so I'm not going to go after this deal. And then these are light green fields right here, which means they're person fields that I highly recommend filling out for Pipedrive, but they're not mandatory for the system to be able to add people. So you don't need them, but you're not going to get very far with any lead if you don't have a phone number or an email address for them. I prefer to have both. And so you can see the contact name is also very important to avoid having duplicate people when you're uploading. And then, of course, the email address. It's always nice to say, what is that person's email address? Let me follow up with him through email, through sending him an email. Now, this deal owner field, this is for internally in Pipedrive. When you want to designate which one of your team members is going to be assigned this deal. And so you can choose the person that takes ownership of it and is in charge of following up and closing this deal. So for this, I have set myself as in charge of this deal. And in the deal title field, we have this, which is marked orange. And what this is basically saying is the title of the deal will automatically be generated from the organization name. And so, for example, Microsoft Incorporated will be the Microsoft Incorporated deal. And Pipedrive will automatically fill that in for us right here. So we should leave all of these ones blank here. And this is an interesting one. So this defines the stage and pipeline that your deals are added to. If no stage is specified, your deals will be opened in the first stage of your pipeline. So say you were to leave this blank, it would automatically go into stage 1 of your pipeline. And this is the deal currency. So this defines the currency that you're using in the deal. And there are loads of different currencies available for you to use. The deal value field is the marking of how much, if the deal is closed, it will earn your company. Now this comes into play later on as you're using your leads and moving them through the pipeline. There's actually a way to speculate and look at, okay, say I close 60% of my leads, which is a really high percentage. You can calculate, okay, so I have this many deals in my pipeline. Here's my forecast or estimation of how much I'm going to earn in the future. And so this is a really nice tool for you to be able to use and give your team and your boss an opportunity to be able to predict how much you'll earn. And then this next field is called the deal status. And there's 3 different statuses that you can have for your deal. You can designate it open, which means the deal is open and you're working on closing it. Or you can say that it's lost, which means you lost the deal. And, sometimes you'll call somebody 5 times and not get a hold of them, or they'll be like, nope, not interested. This is not the right product for me. And in that situation, you mark the deal lost, or you have 1 deals in the system. So those are deals that you close, it's just a great fit, and they come on with your organization. And the most common designation that we see here is open, because we're just starting out with these deals and adding them to my pipeline. So here is the deal expected closure date. Now, this is a good tool for saying, I want to have this closed by this date. And you can specify it whatever date you want. I put the 1st of 2021 to close all these deals. But this will, especially if, say, you're a boss giving these deals to your team, this is nice because you can say, you know what, this deal I would like closed earlier than the other deals because this one's a higher priority. So if you could do your best to close this deal by this date, please do so. And then the last field here is the note content field. And this is just notes about the deal. And oftentimes what I'll do is I'll put how I met the person and why I'm adding that deal to the pipeline to be able to tell my sales team, hey, this is a lead from this show and I met this person. And that way they're not just coming into the deal cold. But for example, they put, my notes are the greatest. Awesome. Cool. So these are all the different fields for my upload in Pipedrive. And what I often do here is when I'm given a spreadsheet, it doesn't come perfectly, designed to be able to be uploaded in Pipedrive. So I'll have to go through the process of filling in these different fields, copying and pasting from that spreadsheet that I'm given. And chances are you'll have to do the same thing too. But it's definitely worth it to be able to upload all of these leads just with a few clicks of a button here. Now, before I upload, there's something really important that you have to do. Now, when uploading, you just want the raw information to be added to the system. So anything beyond that raw information, you have to get rid of. And so if I go over to column 2, it says delete this row or replace the descriptions with something else. Now, this is so important to delete this row here, just so that I'm not uploading this when I do my import. And then it says delete this column right here also, because this isn't the raw information that I'll be adding here. It's just a tool for me to use to create my upload. So now that I have these both deleted, I just have this raw information that I can now save. Don't forget to save. And then I can add this into Pipedrive and upload it directly into this pipeline here. I'm going to go down to these 3 dots in the left-hand side of the screen and click this button called Import Data. Here is the page where we upload from a spreadsheet. Now there's 2 options here that Pipedrive gives you. They give you the option of uploading through a different software or uploading from a spreadsheet. So when you're just starting out, say you're using the Salesforce software and you're just starting out with Pipedrive, this would be a place to go, and it'll integrate with your Salesforce, and you can do your upload directly from that other software. However, what we're doing today is we're uploading from our spreadsheet that we've created. So now we'll click Upload from Spreadsheet, and then there's 3 different steps to your upload. The first is uploading file, second is the mapping, and the third is previewing and finishing your upload. So let's do this first step and just click Upload File. Here's the file that we've created together for our upload. And it loads it into the system here. And now it's taken us to step 2, which is the mapping. And just say this about yourself: I am a mapping professional. And this is the section that's probably the most challenging and the place where most people just say, all right, I'm not going to do this. Like, I don't want to upload. But if you can stick with it and figure it out, it's an amazing tool, and it's actually not very hard to do. The basic thing that you're doing is you're taking what you've listed in your spreadsheet, which appears on the left, and you're matching it with a field in the Pipedrive system, which is on your right. And so the name has automatically located the name field. And all of these fields, actually, because you use the spreadsheet that I provided for you, most of it is set up and ready to go. The only thing that you have to do a further designation with is these yellow fields here. And for this, it doesn't read what stage 1 is. And so I want to designate, hey, this is stage 1. It's the first stage of what I've designated this to be in my pipeline. Then I'll click Save. And then there's the deal expected closure date, which also has a yellow marker for a further designation. So Pipedrive was created in Eastern Europe, and over there they do their dates differently. But here in America, I'd like to have my dates month, day, year. And so I'll put that designation right there. And now I can see that all of my fields have been matched up except for the deal title field. Now this isn't anything to panic about because Pipedrive will automatically create the title of your deal. Isn't that good news? That's great news. So if you ever needed to add a field that was missing into your upload, you could simply pick a field from this search area over here on the far right and drag it into the corresponding field. And here's fields for person type, there's organization type fields, there's deal type fields, and then there's activity type fields and note type fields also. The product type fields are a new feature that I actually haven't used yet, but there's some opportunities with that too. So I can scroll through all of these and look for the ones that I want. I can also, if I'm like, okay, how am I going to say the city? I have the city field right here and I can simply search. After I've completed this mapping section, I'm going to click Next here. And Pipedrive is incredible at merging data. And what they do is if there happens to be a multiple two types of record that is actually one person, they've created an amazing tool to automatically merge that data into one person. And so I've always marked merge data when I'm mapping. But if you are in a situation where you know you want each record to be its individual record, regardless if they are the same person, then you can create multiple records over here. But for our sake, I'm going to merge data. And then this little section down here is pretty nice because it allows you to preview how the information is going to look in Pipedrive. So preview import data. You can see how the organizations will look, how the people will look, and most importantly, how the deals are going to look in the system. And so always a good thing to glance at that as you're going down. And everything looks good, so I'm going to click Start Import. And here it goes. It's in progress. And it finished. Now, after your import finishes, you always want to check the Details tab right here. And this will give you an update of how the import went. And it says here it was successful, and it added all 48 of these different fields that we created for the new leads that we generated. And then on the right, you can see this red button. So say something goes wrong, or even you just want to take back what you've done with this upload, then you can click Revert over here. You know, I've been working on these examples for you guys, so I've reverted these. And that's always an option for you to, this takes back and deletes all the information that you've uploaded. Just in case you make a mistake, just want to let you know that that button is there. But congratulations, you now know how to import, and you now can put leads into the system in a mass fashion. All right, so now I'm going to teach you everyday use of how I use Pipedrive daily. And here's my deals in the system, and I can choose to drag and drop them to whatever stage that I want to put them in. And here are the different stages of the deals right here. And so I've named this account or prospect. This is when they're first entered into the system. And then I'll move it to stage 2 when I've made contact with the person. And then when more follow-up is needed, I'll put the deal in here. Oftentimes it takes about 5 to 8 calls to close a deal for an average sale. So that's one thing that this really helps with, is it keeps in mind that it's a process of taking a person through your pipeline rather than 1 or 2 phone calls and then the deal is closed. So it helps me get in the right mentality. And then the goal of these calls is to make an appointment with the customer and say, hey, are you interested and willing to set aside time to meet to talk about this opportunity? And then I have the fifth stage as deal closed and purchase order sent. So here's how I want to show you how to set this up. So there's a variety of different things that you can do here, and you can customize this to whatever workflow makes the most sense for your company. And so say you had a pre-appointment check, your doctor's office or something like that. You could change that to this. I'm going to keep this at more follow-up needed in this field. And then there's a couple other things that you can do. See here on the bottom, it has rotting in days. So this will, if the deal hasn't been touched for a certain amount of days, this will designate it as rotting, and it'll turn red, and it'll tell your team member, hey, look at this deal, it needs your attention. And when the person either emails or calls or sets a new note about the field, it will be marked as not rotting anymore. And then the other thing that you can fill out within your pipeline is the probability. Now the probability is how sure are you that this deal is going to be closed at a certain stage. So this obviously increases to 50%, 75%, and 90% as you get closer to closing. And that helps project your sales revenue for the future. So this is a nice tool here. And you can even move these and be like, hey, I want this over here, or I want this here. And then one thing that I've also done is you can also add more stages over here. So for my company, I was finding that we were making sales, but we weren't really following up and getting those customers set up and buying with us really well. And so I was like, that's got to change. And so I created new stages for them to be able to do that, and for them to be able to start to value that follow-up call with the customer. And so now that I have this part of the pipeline set up, I'm going to go back to my deal page here. So let's look at what's actually within a deal and how it functions in Pipedrive. So I'm here on my deal page, and in this top section, there's a couple of things that I can see right away. I can see the person who's associated with the deal, and the company who's associated with it, and then also the deal value. And all of these are editable. So say at the beginning I thought, man, Monsters Inc. is going to be worth $33,000, and then I find out, oh man, this is actually worth $45,000. I can always go in there and change the deal value. And then looking at the deal, I can advance it to new stages with one click of a button. So sometimes within one phone call, I'll get a hold of the person that I need to get a hold of. They'll be interested in the product, and I'll take them straight from a prospect into an appointment made. All right, so now I'm going to demonstrate winning and losing a deal. So let's look at Monsters Inc. deal. So say I call the company, I make contact, I'm going to move them up to contact made section. And then say I send them a catalog, talk to them again, they've been advanced in the pipeline stages according to where I'm at with the person. And so when I make the appointment, I'll advance it to the 4th section. And say I close the deal, I'll then advance this deal to the 5th section. I'll mark the deal won. And when it's won, it'll give me a fun illustration of winning the deal. Yay! And that's how you advance a deal through the winning process. If you ever want to look at the information of deals you've won, you can click in the list section, and the deals that have been won will show up in a green color. So now this deal is won. Let me demonstrate to you a lost deal. So I want to reopen this deal, and we'll put it back in the appointment made section. Say I just can't make the appointment with them. I'll then mark this deal lost up here in the upper right hand corner. And what this does is you can select a lost reason. And these are all the lost reasons that I've customized for my business. And you can customize those for your business too. And then you can say comments, would you like to make any comments? And mark the deal as lost. So now this will show up in the system as a lost deal. You can also refer to lost deals on the Insights tab. Now this is a great tool for you to use in Pipedrive because you can see why you're losing the deals that you're losing. And so this is really great information for me as a manager to see, oh my gosh, the number one reason is because we're just unable to get a hold of people. And that's the reason why we're losing deals. So just another incredible tool for you in Pipedrive. And I'll put this back into the section that I want. And then in the left-hand side, the navigation of the deal are a couple of different boxes. So this first box is details, and these you can customize to whatever you want for your company. And so for me, I have the customer number, I have a salesperson, I have a type of customer. These customers are monsters. And then there's also a revenue section, which will describe how the customer is going to pay you. That's not really applicable for what I'm using it, but it's there for you. A company like Netflix would be like, hey, this customer is paying $10 a month on their subscription. And then there's the organization section right here. And this has the company and their location and phone number here. And there's also a tool that Pipedrive has updated for you to use the person's email address to gather information about the organization. And so that can be used also right here. and then you have the person associated with the deal. Now, in my opinion, this is so important. Being able to call the person by name and know who you're calling in the company that can give you access to be able to buy your product is the most important thing. So whenever you find out that person's name, it's always such a great idea to have it here in the system. And then here is possibly the most important part of the deal. So here is where I take the notes. Here is an example of a great note that I've taken in the system. I want to create an activity for me to do. So say I set this appointment and it was kind of fast. I have that feeling in my heart like, oh man, I want to confirm this appointment before we actually meet on Friday, just to make sure he's legit, just to make sure that he's sold on this. So I can set an activity for Thursday. And on Thursday, I'm going to call James again and just confirm the appointment. And I can set the time that I would like to have this activity happen. So I'm going to call him at 11. It's just a quick phone call here. And I'm going to set this activity to be able to pop up right here. And I want to set that just to make sure that I have a chance to call him. And then I'll also set another activity. And I want to set a meeting. My meeting with James too. So that I don't forget that. Like this is what I'm wanting. So he said he's giving me this appointment at 5. So I'm wanting to take the direction that he's given me. Present with him about monsters. Yes, that's very important there. So now I have these set in the deal section, and I can also find these activities by clicking in the left-hand navigation right here. The other thing that I can do within Pipedrive is I can set a phone call to be made, and I can merge and integrate my Pipedrive with a calling app. And what that does, Kixie, AirCall, or Just Call, I can connect them with that if I'm calling through my computer. And what that will do is it'll set the time of the conversation. It'll automatically upload the information of that call, how long it was, into Pipedrive. And then Pipedrive themselves actually has something called Pipedrive Caller. And it's only available to professional users. So you kind of have to upgrade. And you can call directly. It's their program that you can use to call directly through Pipedrive. And it will also track calls really well too. I can also email directly through Pipedrive. So I can click this email tab and just say, just begin to create any type of email, and it'll automatically be saved within Pipedrive. I can propose times. I can access email templates here. I can add different fields and add my signature into these emails, and then also attach documents. Sometimes you do this outside of Pipedrive, but if you ever wanted to do it within Pipedrive, you could too. If you wanted to attach a file to this deal, you could also attach a file here and drag and drop any type of information. Say you're in a meeting and you take notes by pen and you take a picture of those with your cell phone. You can drag and drop those here within Pipedrive. And then there's also tabs for documents, which is a new feature that has just come out within Pipedrive, and then invoice if you want to integrate Pipedrive with an invoicing app. So looking at the deals back on the pipeline view, I can see here that one of my deals is rotting, Featherstone Podiatry. So I'm going to click on this yellow thing here, and it says schedule activities to help you achieve your sales goals. So now I can schedule an activity. I know that I got to get moving on this, so I'm going to schedule this right here. And now instead of this yellow marker here, it will be a green marker that says, oh, I have an activity to be done in here. All right, so now I'm going to show you how to track sales activities and sales performance within the new look of Pipedrive. And you can get to your dashboard by clicking the Insights button right over here on the left-hand side. And this is the page that it'll come up with. And it's completely customizable based on what you want to look at in your sales process. So just a note here that you can add new dashboards if you have Pipedrive Professional. And so that is available if you choose to upgrade, but I don't have Pipedrive Professional, and so I'm allowed to have one dashboard. However, I can have as many reports in this dashboard between the forecasting, the deals, and the activities that I'm doing in Pipedrive, which is nice. I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything because I don't have one dashboard. And the other good thing is that you can customize it to view any person on your team, or you can customize it to view all the activity of your team in this upper right hand filter right here. And then this other filter means what time period would you like to look at for these reports. And this will make more sense once we create some reports in here, but wanted to show you that too. So let's go ahead and create some reports for you to view. Now, the most important in my eyes, the most important reports is the deal performance report. And so that's the one that I'm going to show you first. And here is just the way that I have it customized. I have all the activity base that's happening in deals for this year, starting at 1/1/20 and ending at the end of this year. Now you can see there's a couple of things that you can do with this. You can change the way that this graph looks like, and you can change it to a scorecard, so it just has the listed deals there. And whichever one looks the best to you, I like this bar graph, this basic bar graph here. The other thing you can do is add a condition. So you can say if you want to designate, oh, I only want to see deals that are owned by Rob Armbruster, then we can see that. And I had just become a new Pipedrive user, and so that there's not very many deals showing with that designation. But you can add as many conditions here as you would like to give further filters to this report that you're creating about the deals. And I don't like that, but I like this basic snapshot that I can see everything with. And I can see, oh man, in April and May, we had a lot of activity. And here's in blue are the deals open, in red are the deals lost, and then in green are the deals won. And for my company, it's kind of like, well, 95% of the deals, the leads that we generate don't end up closing, but 5% do. So I'm actually pretty happy with this. And our sales process is a little bit longer and it's about 6 months long. So I'm excited for the coming months where we added all these open deals. And in the future, this helps me know that, you know what, there's not a lot of closing or activity now, but I know that there's going to be a lot in the future. So I want to save this report here, and I can name it whatever I want up here and just save this into my dashboard. And now this has been added to the reports section down here. So the other thing I can do is add other reports related to deals. So we just added the performance report. I could add a report about conversion or duration or progress. And I want to show you this progress report because I think that this would be a really great tool for businesses out there. So this shows you how many deals progressed through the months that you've had them open. And so, like I said before, in April and May in my company, we had a lot of different deals progress into new stages, and there was a lot of activity. And this gives you an idea, oh man, like what is going on in these months? There's not as much activity as these months here. And if you want to see how, say you want to add a condition and you want to have a look at somebody's overall performance, you can filter it down to a specific person in the company and see how much. It's helpful to see how much activity is happening with each person in your company and be able to filter that and look at that. So this is a really nice tool here. You can see that I've added multiple steps in my pipeline for this company that I work for, which is really nice. It can be created and it can show however you works best for your company. So I want to save this progress report and just say, okay, here's how I look at new deals progress, and then I can go straight back to the new deals performance report and click in between them. So here is a really useful report here that shows you how much activity is happening in your company. And so there's 21 calls to be made and then 1 email to be made. And then there's 17 calls that have been done and 1 meeting that has been done. And for this, you can go up to the top, and the filter that it comes with is a time period filter. So you could do this for the week, you could do it for a year, see all the activities you're doing within the year, or you could do it for this month, which I really like to do it and look at the activity happening in my company month by month. So I'm going to save this, and I can add as many reports as I want. So if I want to add an email performance report, I can add that. And then there's this other tab that has forecast and subscription. So the only report available in this right now is subscription revenue. And what that does is it tells you how much revenue is coming from your subscription customers. And this revenue forecast is coming soon. And this is an amazing tool. It'll be to the new view in Pipedrive very soon for you to be able to forecast, take the deal value and forecast based on the percentage of how much you close from deals in each stage. You can tell how much money that your company is going to earn in a given month. And it's not 100% accurate, but it gives you an idea of estimation of what that will be, which is really nice. So one thing I want to show you too is for those of you who have used the old Pipedrive, and you might be looking at this setup and being like, where is this from? This is part of the new Pipedrive setup. And so if you haven't elected for the new view in Pipedrive, you won't have access to this. But if you if you're in the new view, you can always switch back from the old navigation to the new navigation, and from the new navigation to the old navigation. We're kind of in a time where it's in a transition period. And just keep in mind that that in the next 6 months, all of us will be switched to this new navigation. And that's why I'm choosing to teach you this one, is because this is the one that they'll switch to, and it's going to be the best for you in the long run. And so now I have all my different reports here. And then the cool thing is I can go back to my dashboard and see all the reports in one view on my dashboard, and then be able to filter by the person, like I mentioned before, or the time period. So this is a very helpful tool. I highly recommend, keeping a pulse on what's going on in your deals and in your company by using these reports that you have access to here. The next thing that I'm going to show you is how to automate workflow activities that you do in Pipedrive. So this is so cool about Pipedrive, is they let you take certain processes that take you time throughout your day, and they let you automate them so that you can save valuable time. So for example, if your company sends out an email to the customer once they've signed up and you've won the deal and they've chose to purchase from you, instead of having to spend the time going into your email account, opening up and going into your email account, you can send them an automated templated email from Pipedrive, and Pipedrive can trigger that workflow automation to happen every time that you close a deal. And so let's look at doing that. Now here in Pipedrive, when I click on the workflow automation button here, it comes up with all these different custom templates of automations. And I would look at all the templates and just browse them and spend some time looking at them. There's so many different things that you can do and you can save your team time with. And so I would definitely worth taking a look at these. But the one that I'm going to focus on is sending an automatic email when your deal is won. A cool one here. So every time your deal is won, it's telling me to choose my pipeline. So I'm going to choose my pipeline, and then I'm going to configure the email. And it's saying, okay, who do you want to send this email to when a deal is won in your pipeline? So I think it's really interesting that you can send it to the deal creator, or you can send it to the deal contact person in the email, or even the deal owner. Now you might be seeing these two options before that say before update. Don't worry about these. These will take the email and contact information that the deal had at the original creation of the deal before it was updated. However, I don't know when you would do that, so I would definitely choose. So if we want to email the customer, we're going to select the deal contact person email, and this will email the current customer contact email, whether or not it has been updated. And then all I need to do is select from the email templates that I have created. And so I'm going to select, for me, the intro to the company and welcome email template. And then there's a couple of options here that I can select, and they're pretty useful. I can select use open tracking. And if I click yes on this, it will track the email and it will let me know when the email has been opened. When or if. Not all emails are open. So, hate to break it to you. But that's nice to know if they've opened the email or not. And then you can also use link tracking. So this will automatically look at any links within your templated email, and it will send you a notification. It'll let you know when that link has been clicked by the person. I view those as helpful tools here. So I'm going to click continue. I want to select who can trigger this automation. So now I'm deciding, okay, do I just want this to be for me or for any user in my company? And I'm creating this for my company. So I'll select that there. And then I can name this. I'll just name it Rob Armbruster email of new customers to give it a description. And now I can look at this. It pops up in my little workflow automation place right here. And say this isn't working very well, and I want, say I decide, you know what, I want to personally reach out to each one of my customers with a phone call. I can deactivate this and it'll stop working. And at any time, if I want to activate it, I can just click activate, and I can go back into this and say, you know what, I want to change this to actually email a different person. So I want to change this to email the deal creator, just to be able to give him encouragement and thank him for opening a new account for my company. Then I can change that there, and I'll change the email template. I'll create a new email template and just say, thank you, sir, for closing this account. And so the goal of that one would be to build rapport and trust within your company, which is just important as closing deals. And I can save this edit here. So now if I go back to workflow automation, I have this here. And the other thing I can do, if I know I absolutely want to get rid of this automation, I can delete it. And the other thing I can do is click duplicate. And if I want to create a similar automation, I can duplicate this one, and it'll come up with the same template that I could edit and create a new automation from the one that I've already created. So that can save you some time there. So that is workflow automation for you. And now you are ready to start moving in Pipedrive. I hope you've found this tutorial and all of these tools to be just incredibly helpful. And feel free to throw a comment below this video if you have any questions or anything like that. You're now ready to start opening up and using Pipedrive to your fullest potential. Thanks so much.
If you're not a subscriber, click down below to subscribe so you get notified about similar videos we upload. To get 4 free courses in Excel, QuickBooks, Microsoft Project, and Photoshop, click over there. And click over there to see more videos from Simon Says It.